Hi, this is Paul Padda of Paul Padda Law. Today I want to talk to you about the difference between federal court and state court. I have found that clients are often confused about the difference, and most people just assume that if a lawsuit gets filed, it's probably happening in state court. Now, for the vast majority of cases, that's true. However, there are cases that end up in federal court, and it's important to know the distinction. Federal court is a place where cases can only end up based on two things. Number one, either the case arises under federal law, in other words, there's some federal law that applies, or number two, there's what's called diversity of jurisdiction, meaning the plaintiff, the person bringing the lawsuit, and the defendant, the person being sued, are citizens of different states. In those situations, a defendant can remove a case from state court to federal court, but the big distinction between state and federal is that state courts are courts of general jurisdiction. Federal courts are courts of what's called limited jurisdiction. There's only a limited number of reasons in terms of how you can end up in federal court. Federal court also has a significant distinction compared to a lot of state courts, because in federal court, in a civil case, if the jury makes a decision, it has to be unanimous. What that means is every single person on the jury has to reach that decision, and they have to reach the same decision in a civil case. In a state court, it's a little different. There are a number of state courts throughout the United States where no unanimous jury verdict is required. Instead, it's a 2/3 jury verdict. So in other words, if there's 8 people on the jury and 6 of them find one way and 2 people say, no, we don't agree, we want to find another way, well, the 6 versus the 2, the 6 rules. Important distinction to understand: in state court, you don't need a unanimous jury verdict, you need a majority verdict, but in federal court, you need a unanimous verdict. So there's other distinctions between federal and state, but those are the main distinctions. The vast majority of personal injury cases end up in state court, but there are circumstances where a case can get removed to federal court. And like I said, federal courts are courts of limited jurisdiction, so the law that applies is much narrower than what you end up with in state court. This is Paul Padda of Paul Padda Law.